President Donald Trump's post suggesting he might block the opening of the bridge linking Windsor and Detroit quickly drew attention across North America. Within hours, a largely completed infrastructure project became the center of political debate. Ottawa's response came almost immediately. Prime Minister Mark Carney held an early Tuesday morning phone call with Trump to clarify statements that the Canadian side viewed as inaccurate. What stood out, however, was not the speed of the response. It was the way he chose to respond. Carney did not escalate tensions. He did not resort to personal attacks. Instead, he returned to the structure of the agreement itself. Canada covered the full upfront construction cost. The United States, specifically the state of Michigan, holds an ownership stake under the 2012 agreement. And the project is the result of bilateral cooperation. It is not a unilateral advantage for Ottawa. Carney emphasized that the federal government of Canada invested approximately $4 billion in the core construction of the Windsor-Detroit Bridge.
I explained that Canada, of course, paid for the construction of the bridge, over $4 billion, that the ownership is shared between the state of Michigan and the government of Canada.
The project was carried out by workers from both countries. It used steel and materials sourced from both Canada and the United States. That was a direct response to the claim that the project contained virtually no American components, a remark Trump had previously made. Ownership was also clarified. The bridge does not belong solely to the U.S. federal government. It is jointly owned by Canada and the state of Michigan. Although Canada financed the entire initial construction cost, the legal framework guarantees shared ownership. The Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority operates the project. However, oversight is carried out through an international mechanism with equal representation from both sides. This structure reflects the fundamentally bilateral nature of the project. It is not the asset of a single nation. It is shared infrastructure within an integrated North American economic ecosystem. Speaking on Parliament Hill, Carney described the bridge as an example of cooperation between the two countries.
Look forward to it opening. And what is particularly important, of course, is the commerce and the tourism and the voyages of Canadians and Americans that will go across that bridge.
Carney emphasized 3 points. Canada covered the entire upfront cost. Workers and materials from both countries were involved. And the economic interests of Michigan and the broader Midwest are tightly connected to this bridge. The message was unmistakable. If the bridge is blocked, the damage will not fall on Canada alone. When Carney stated what is particularly important, of course, is that trade, tourism, and the travel of Canadians and Americans will pass across that bridge. He was bringing the debate back to economic reality. The Gordie Howe International Bridge is not a national symbol. It is a link in a supply chain. The project was designed to relieve pressure on the aging Ambassador Bridge and to secure the flow of nearly 1/4 of U.S.-Canada trade. In the auto industry, components can cross the border multiple times before a final product is completed. At a time when global supply chains are increasingly fragile, this bridge is not merely infrastructure, it is insurance against disruption. At the provincial level, the reaction of Ontario Premier Doug Ford added a distinct political layer. He showed no sign of wavering in response to statements from Washington.
Make no mistake about it, as sure as I'm talking to you, I'm very confident this bridge is going to open. I'll tell you the reason why it's going to open, because it's in the best interest of the American economy, the Americans, the 13 Congress people that are going for re-election in the midterms, which the Republicans own probably 7 of those seats and 1 Senate seat as well. And the worst thing you could do is hurt the American economy and continue to hurt the American economy. And
he stressed that it benefits the U.S. economy just as much as Canada's. By highlighting support from Michigan politicians, Ford shifted the focus inward toward the United States itself. He did not frame this as Ottawa versus Washington. He framed it as a question of Midwestern American interests. His reference to Trump's 2017 statement was not accidental. At that time, the bridge had been described as an important economic link between our two countries, a symbol of cooperation. Now, it had become an object of leverage. That shift exposed a larger issue: consistency.
Folks, the deal was struck that Canada, the federal government, built it. And if President Trump didn't want this to go forward, why did he fast track it in 2019? I'm sorry.
The reversal is more than a change in position. It creates uncertainty, and uncertainty always carries a cost. If a project once promoted as a symbol of partnership can be transformed into a bargaining chip, then the question extends beyond the bridge itself. It concerns the durability of bilateral commitments. Are signed agreements still treated as stable foundations, or merely as starting points for the next round of negotiation? Ford therefore called for no concessions.
We're going to continue building our economy and being strong. But folks, this is not the time. And this is my message to the Prime Minister and the people of Canada. This is not the time to roll over and let President Trump take advantage of us. Keep saying that we've taken advantage of the Americans, contrary to what I believe in.
Not to escalate tensions, but to avoid setting a precedent. He rejected the claim that the project contains virtually no American components.
Putting on Canadians. I want to go back to the bridge. You said there was no U.S. content. That's, again, it's not truthful. 75%, yes, we're Canadian steel and concrete because we're paying for it. 25% was U.S. steel and concrete. Then the interchange going on from the Michigan side, it was all American workers, all American steel, all American concrete. So again, there's fiction, what President Trump says, and then there's true facts that people can look up and see exactly where we stand. Sorry, I apologize.
On the same day, the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority confirmed that the project remains on track to open in early 2026. The official statement did not directly address the controversy. Instead, it emphasized the economic benefits for all of North America: investment, jobs, trade and tourism opportunities, and the shared ownership structure between Canada and Michigan. The message was consistent. This is a foundation of cooperation, not a point of confrontation. Viewed more broadly, the way Ontario and Ottawa handled the situation reveals a clear strategy: no escalation, no emotional rhetoric, no transformation of a policy dispute into a symbolic clash. Only a steady return to economic interests and legal structure.